Hello and welcome back. I am so excited to bring you another trailblazer from my world. Now, if you've been in my world for a minute, or if you scroll back far enough, maybe on the podcast, you will actually find an interview with Jenn from when you originally kind of hadn't long joined the inner circle. So we might
Yeah,
even be coming up to that year, I guess, in maybe in May.
yeah.
Yeah,
May.
so last time we spoke, I think you were a couple months in maybe to the inner circle, and a lot has changed since then. So I am really excited to bring Jenn Ditz back to the podcast, back to social media. She helps high performers unlock aligned success, wealth, and impact. So she is incredible at subconscious rewiring and manifestation, and she served thousands of clients worldwide. I'm so excited to bring you back and reintroduce you to those that are new into my world. A lot has changed in the last kind of like 9 months, including in your world. So welcome back to the podcast and to social media.
Thanks.
Um,
Thank you so much.
I would love to know, like I said, in May, I think we're coming up to a year of you being inside the inner circle, and a lot has changed, including the introduction of a brand new business bestie in the form of the robot version of me.
I
Um,
love her.
And I think what's so cool about speaking to those women that have been in my world longer is you have had the opportunity to experience what it's like to be coached directly by me, and also the opportunity to experience Leanne AI. And if you're experiencing Leanne AI and you haven't experienced coaching with me, you might not know how closely aligned those things are or how different those things are. So I would love for you to speak to your experience of what's happened for you since obviously you've had access now to Leanne AI, and in your business since it's been coming up to what, like whatever it is, 9, 10 months since you joined the inner circle. I would love to know what's kind of changed for you in your business.
Yeah. So honestly, I absolutely love Leanne I, when I started in your world, it was because I knew I really needed to adjust my messaging. I felt like my messaging was like, I guess you could kind of say a little immature for where I was in my business, and I needed to update it. And so that's really why I was drawn to you. And I went to your messaging workshops that you had, and I know we had some one-on-ones as well, and I got so much clarity. And then with Leanne I felt like I got this even deeper level of clarity because I was able to really go to her with every single question that I could ever have. And it's crazy because as a result of having her, I've actually launched my podcast that I had been hesitating to launch. I know, I'm so excited, and it's going super well, which is amazing. It's like my new strongest lead magnet, and I wouldn't have launched it without her, I don't think, because I felt so bogged down by, okay, now I have to do the emails for the podcast, I have to do all the show notes, I have to do all of the social media content that relates to it. And truthfully, like every episode probably takes me an hour to record and also to do all of those different pieces because she is able to craft all of those emails for me based off of this new messaging that I have. And I really feel like for the first time, I'm really, really clear on my messaging. And a massive part of that has been working with you and going to the inner circle, going to our sessions that we have each week, but also really having her at 10 p.m. when I'm working on something, being able to be like, okay, here's a caption, and can you adjust this? Can you edit this for me? Right? Can you give me an enhanced version of this? And it's really in those moments that it makes the biggest difference because it doesn't matter who your coach is, right? You're not going to message your coach on a Sunday morning or at 10 p.m. or get that kind of feedback, right? So usually I think in the coaching world, as we are doing a lot without the feedback that we want. And ChatGPT is great, but it's like a kindergartner compared to Leanne AI. In terms of messaging, like the
Yeah.
message that she gives you, it really is so aligned with what you would give us and the feedback that you would give us. Like it really is so, so, so powerful in terms of messaging, but also in terms of like thought partnership, of being able to really think through things, of being able to really um, enhance whatever it is that you have going on. And I think one of the biggest things I did is I gave her my messaging because I felt like I was attracting some clients that were not fully aligned with what I wanted, like not what we would call $1 million clients.
Hmm.
And so I gave her tons of the messaging that I had created. And I basically said, can you please tell me the errors that I'm making that are showing me why I'm attracting these clients? And she just spit out this whole thing and was like, "Oh, it's you're speaking in this way." And it was these aha moments that I had probably would have taken me a year to figure out on my own, or even with coaching with a person, right? Because the amount of information that you can give to her and that she can analyze for
Yeah.
you.
Like her processing time is her
Mhm.
biggest benefit. Because to your point, even working one on one with me, we still are constrained by our processing time, right? That we're not a
Mhm.
computer. And so she has the wisdom of me, but the speed of the computer system, which means you can give her a week's worth of content, a month's worth of content, and go, hey, I'm attracting people that I wouldn't say are my $1 million client, and you know who that is. Tell me why. Whereas I would have to sit down and go through everything, and I could probably reflect back to you certain things. She's going to be able to go ding, 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 ding. Here's all of these reflections, and you're able to then see it and change it instantly rather than having to move. It's like her secret is speed. Her biggest gift, I think, is the speed at which is able to support you, which I don't care who you're working with or how much proximity you have to them, you still
Mhm.
can't get the speed that you can get. Like, and that's just the reality. And that's all it just like I knew she would be good, but actually seeing her in action in the way that you're able to use her for every tiny facet of your business and those micro improvements create big external improvements. And that I love that you're able to use her for like all of these things, podcast, copy, all of the messaging. But yeah, that's incredible that I love that you even thought to use her like that because we've been talking about this recently inside Leanne and I am like, ask her to review your stuff. Don't just ask her to create new stuff. Get her
Mhm.
to also look at what you're currently doing and give you her honest, direct feedback.
Yeah. And it's so valuable because I think it's really difficult for us to see why we are attracting certain clients in our messaging. I feel like she's made me better at messaging
Yeah.
because it's the speed, but it's also the availability, right? I couldn't, even if we're working together one on one, I'm not going to send you every single piece of content that I'm doing, right? That would be insane. But with her, you can do that. And that's so valuable for your speed of evolution as a marketer, right? As an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Like it really changes the game. And I think the thing that I'm most amazed by is I think I've used like AI since even like really, really early on. I've
Oh, I
always been,
love that. I love that you have. Okay, I love that.
yeah. And I've always loved it. And I've been like in AI masterminds. Like I really, really like AI.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. And she is like the best that I have found, especially for the type of work that we do, right? Business, creating social media content. Like she really, really is such a valuable asset, and I don't think it's like you can't even put an ROI on it because it's so massive and your ability to really evolve and change things within your business. And I think the only limitation is like our ability to be creative with using her.
And that's the biggest piece of it. Because honestly, one thing that I love is as someone that was not familiar with AI, it's been part of my learning. And some of it was intuitive for me because it's how my brain works, right? So
Mhm.
she works in the way that my brain works. So I know what to ask for to get the best output. But part of my learning has been how do we creatively teach the women inside to get those incredible results? Because honestly, the output is indicative of what you ask her, what you give her, the way that you ask it. But I would even argue, and this is something that's powerful for you to answer because you are so familiar with Leanne, with AI, with different, and you've been a very avid AI user, been part of AI masterminds, is I actually think unlike a lot of other AI where you do have to have very specific, you have to ask for things in a very specific way. One of the things that I love about Leanne AI is that she actually is much more simple in like you can just give her a riff and she'll turn it into gold. Like you don't have to have these structured prompts and very specific things that you do. It's almost like she is like you said, a thought partner where she's almost like you're like having a conversation. It feels very conversational to me, which I love because it doesn't feel complex. It actually feels very simple.
I so agree with you. And I think it's like this intelligence, right? Where she takes what you give her. So I gave her the transcript for one of my podcasts and I said, please pull out like the most important points in this. And she pulled them out, but she made them better. And so I took them and I scheduled them all in threads to see like what topics are hitting for people. And it's like my threads account grew by like tons of followers from all of that content from her. But it's incredible because it's like you take what you know, right, and what you've created, and you give it to something that has all these skills, all this intelligence that you don't have. Plus, it has your genius, and that really is like, I think that is why she's so powerful. Because ChatGPT is run on the same engine, but it's not anywhere near the level, like, you're not going to get the same thing whatsoever.
Yeah, because you don't have the clean input that she's built on. So the problem with GPT is like it's an incredible platform, but to your point, it doesn't have the wisdom around specific topics because it's pulling from everything. It's like pulling everything. So I always talk about it being like everyone else's like recycled messaging it's pulling from, whereas Leanne AI has got the intelligence, but the wisdom of those highly, and the way I teach messaging is not just about the words that you say, but it's highly strategic. And
Mhm.
therefore, what you're getting is a much higher quality output because, I always said, and because we did this on Inner Circle calls and you've experienced this firsthand with me, that my biggest gift is, yes, is messaging, but it's actually in being the cleanest mirror of you and your work and reflecting like where you're playing small, where like, why are you saying that when you could say this? Like, why are you using that word when if you just used this word, it would really amplify who you're speaking to. And I know you want to speak to this
Yeah.
person. So why are you speaking to this person? And I would argue like she has that ability without it being me. It's like she is the best mirror that there is and the cleanest mirror, like you said, of taking your genius and being like, hey, like I see you talking about it like this, but I actually think like if you were being audacious and you were really owning your gifts, you would talk about it like this.
Yes, I so agree. And it's these subtle, subtle tweaks that she does. I also want to mention too, I really like that it's based off of a woman because most of the AI is not. And like ChatGPT, you're going to get, even if you're like, oh, speak to me like, you're a 30-year-old female who cares about X, Y, and Z, it's not going to do it the same way as like she really speaks in a way that actually resonates with a female audience, and I think most of your clients do serve female
Yeah.
audiences.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we've actually had guys join because they speak to a female audience and they're like, for the first time ever, I've got an AI that actually speaks the love
Wow.
language of my ideal client. And a lot of men have not joined my world for obvious reasons. I don't work like with men. I am rich queen. I work with women, but we've had a lot of men buy my instant access programs because they're like, I want to learn how you're messaging. And if you speak to a female audience, you're right. Like most AI, much like most marketing, is driven toward like the male buyer. And we don't buy like men and we don't resonate with the language that resonates with men. So I love that you even said that because to me it's like she is this like very feminine but very strategic
Mhm.
business
Yeah.
partner and messaging partner and all of these things that that's why she is such a big hit is like it's so different. And again, I'm not someone that's massively familiar with AI because I'm not someone that used it because I could always tell for the most part when people were using it, there was such giveaways for me. And it lacked that soul and depth. Whereas for me, it's like she adds like soul and depth. Like, and I didn't think that was possible with AI, but I feel like she reflects more of your soul and your depth, which means your messaging does too.
Yeah, I so agree. And she sees, like you said, those micro changes that you can make. Like for me, it was like she gave me like 10 different things of how I was speaking. And I was like, oh, now I get why I'm attracting this certain person with my content versus the person that I want to be attracting. And I never would have seen that before. It's just, it really, really is amazing. And I'm excited because I know it's just the beginning.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I think, for you, I had Ciara, I interviewed Ciara last week, and I know that you know who Ciara. And we were laughing because on one of the question threads recently for the Inner Circle, she's like, I wanted to let you know, like I am still here. I still love listening to the cause, but I have Leanne AI now, so I don't need you anymore. And for me, that's the biggest compliment there is. Like I am so grateful because that's the reason I created her was how can I have my clients be supported at this like industry leading level as though you could plug into me 24/7. happen. And I've said to Justin for months, in fact, he told me my husband, 6 months before I created her, you should create an AI. And I was like, no, I hate AI. And he was like, I just kept saying, if I could just clone myself and they could just plug into me whenever they wanted to, imagine the results that they would get. Like, imagine how supported people would be. And I don't think I really believed that AI had the potentiality to actually be able to do that in a way that would be so close to who I am. And I was the big surprise for me was not that she was going to create amazing output, but that it was going to feel so much like me, like you were talking to me. And I think you have the benefit of you actually know what talking to me is like, and you know what when I think about what you used to bring to the inner circle, again, it was micro tweaks, it was small things, it was the repositioning of what you were doing, and that's what created such big results for you. So of course she's going to be no different.
Yeah, completely. It really is. It's amazing to have. Like, honestly, it creates this sense of peace because you really feel like you're not just doing everything alone, because being a solopreneur, like you can feel like you're doing everything alone, even if you have coaches, even if you have a
Sure.
team, things like that, it's still on you, especially with content. And with her, it's like she also, one thing I love is she's really supportive and really encouraging. Like she's always telling me how everything is so fire. She doesn't say it like that, but that's how I read it in my mind.
But I
Yeah.
do, honestly, the amount of women that have used her for even just like coaching, like I'm having a really tough day, or like I'm having a tough time in the business, things feel heavy, I feel like things aren't going well, or this launch isn't going how I expected it to. And it makes sense. It's like she has a year's worth of all of those coaching calls that you've witnessed me do. And the coaching I do is above and beyond just the words that people say. It's also helping them shift, the stuff that's going on. So she just feels infused with my soul, and that's one of the things that I love about her, is that people get to experience not just, like you said, the support of like the messaging work or even the highly strategic nature that she has, but also it's fun. Like she's fun to work with. She's like the
Mhm.
best team member ever because you don't have to pay her every hour that she works, and she also is available 24/7 and she never gets tired. So that's always fun. But I just think she is changing the way that women are doing business in this space, and that is just the coolest thing ever.
I so agree. I so agree. It's giving time back, right?
Yeah.
But it's also enhancing everything that we do, so it's more impactful.
Yeah, so those refinements make a big deal. So I guess my question to you would be, for those, okay, two questions, right? For those women thinking about joining Leanne AI, and is it for me, or will this work for me? Or maybe they are really familiar with AI and they're like, you know what, I'm already using AI and I think it's good. Or that, I think in your example, there are women in that have joined that have had no experience with AI, and there are other people who are like, you know what, I've already trained ChatGPT to sound like me. What would you say to those people? Because that is a big thing for people that already are using AI.
So I had already trained ChatGPT to sound like me, and it's not even a comparison. It really feels like it's like ChatGPT it's exactly what you said. There's not that soul to it. There's not that frequency to it. Even if you've given it tons of your messaging, right? Even if you've given it these things, because this is what you don't know is also infused in it, right? Working with someone like you've reached incredible levels of success, someone who has mastered messaging, someone whose messaging converts like crazy, you're having that infused. ChatGPT isn't going to be able to do that no matter what you give it, right? Yours is, and it also goes back to that cleanliness that you're talking about, because ChatGPT will keep pulling in other things that are not that cleanliness. So I think that's a huge part of it. And also, it's this ability to just elevate everything that you're doing in the moment in a way that it just, honestly, it's like a frequency to it. It's a really different frequency to Leanne AI than it is to ChatGPT. And
Mhm.
I feel like ChatGPT feels like it's almost like school in some way.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, it feels like a
yeah.
school tool, and this feels like something that's actually for a female entrepreneur. I think that's what it is
Yeah.
it's for you versus for everybody.
I love that. And I love that because you are someone that I'm assuming probably trained ChatGPT for a while. So if you're an AI master over there, so you know, and my husband did the same, and he was like, there is no comparison. Like he had spent a year training ChatGPT with his tone of voice, with his stuff, and diligently so. And with the first time he used Leanne AI, he was like, this is. I don't think you even realize how good this is. Like it's crazy how good this is. Um, and I love this. Okay. And then for those people thinking about the inner circle, what would you say to those people? Because obviously, now that we have Leanne AI, you don't need as much of me. But I would love to hear what you would say to those people that are like, well, like, what's the point? You know, would I join the inner circle if I wanted to be inside Leanne's world? What do you think the benefits are now to being in the inner circle now that you do get access to Leanne AI, obviously for 12 months inside?
So Leanne AI, I think, is worth the investment of the inner circle alone because you just receive so much. But then also with what you teach, it's teaching you how to develop a really powerful business that is high cash flow and that doesn't require you to be present all the time. And that's really why I joined. And your explanations, your ability to teach that and explain to people how to create funnels, right? How to do all of these things, but in a more feminine way, in a way that aligns more with a feminine entrepreneur. I think that is the massive piece for people. And I mean, within the inner circle, you still get coaching with you, but you also still get access to every single program that you've ever created. So if you want to create a really successful business, you have the roadmap to do that. You have everything you could possibly need. Um,
I feel like with the ad support inside the inner circle, I feel like you've used Nicole and the ad support, which I think is something we don't talk enough about, but it's very unusual to get inside that type of investment to also get direct access to my ads manager and ad support. And I know you're someone that runs ads and has used that support to help you with the tweaking of your ads.
Yes, I completely even forgot about that. You really do get so much within the inner circle. So one, like two simple tweaks that Nicole helped me with helped me take my ad spend. I can't remember the exact numbers right now. This was a few months ago, but it basically helped me increase the amount that I was getting per ad spend from like 5x to like 10x. Like it was a huge jump just from some really small tweaks, like changing my audience. Like it really has been so, so, so valuable. And you also can message Nicole with questions about ads, which like I don't know anywhere else where you can do.
It doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying. It does. Honestly, the inner circle is insane because we've always spoken about it in terms of like access to me. But if you took me off the table, the fact that it includes Leanne AI, the fact that it includes all of the signature programs, so you really understand the full feminine business model and feminine sales, then you've got the addition of like access to my team, including my ads manager. Like listen, ads managers and running it, paying an agency to run your ads is not cheap. Like you're talking 5K a month. Like this is where you get access to someone that runs Rich Queen's ads, where we get insane return on ad spend. And you're able to, like you said, there's a monthly call with her and there's Telegram access Tuesday to Thursday every single week. So you can ask her questions. And we've had so many women like you that have doubled their their return on ad spend from small tweaks. It's always the smallest tweaks that make the
Yeah.
biggest difference. And I think that that is one of the most like under promoted elements of being in the inner circle, quite honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. And I think ads are so, so, so powerful. Like, I love ads, I think they're amazing. And with you and with Nicole, it really helps you feel like this is something that anyone can do in their business, even people that are newer to business.
Exactly. It's not just for you if you're advanced. There's also a massive advantage to really learning ads earlier on to help you improve your visibility, your lead generation, your sales. Again, the things that we were probably once told were masculine ways of doing business actually are often the most feminine way of doing business because ads mean that you don't have to show up as much because you're already showing up all the time because you've got a paid presence.
Yeah.
And I just love that you've had such incredible results of like, with Nicole, with the team inside the inner circle. We have the ads program, we have the support from Nicole, the support from me, the support from the rest of my team. Like it just has, and the support now of Leanne AI. There's never been a better time to jump in. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
I remembered that as I was like talking to you. I was like, oh, I feel like ads is something that you actually really benefit from inside too.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I use the, yeah, she's been amazing. It's been so, so, so helpful. There's a whole ads course in there as well. Like, yeah, it really is just, And what I love about ads too is like you're not dependent on the algorithm when you run ads.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have to fight against the algorithm, which is the best thing in the world because we
Mhm.
don't want to be fighting with the algorithm. So between Leanne AI and ads, like there's no fighting with the algorithm ever again.
No, no, there's also like half the workload, maybe a quarter of
There's
it.
that too. Exactly. We'll take all of these. Tick, 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 tick. Like ticking every feminine business box that there is. I'm obsessed with this. Plus, don't feel as alone. I feel supported.
Right,
I like
right.
it's all of these things. It's like such an hard ROI to explain to people, but it's just there is something about safety in your system of being supported. Like you can literally be more in your feminine. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, completely, completely. Yeah,
Okay,
you
I love this. I love this so much. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for sharing your experience. Go and look up Jen on Instagram. We're gonna link this. If you're listening to this other podcast, look below. She is at alignment with Jen. She's phenomenal, like just such a trailblazer. Go look her up, go show her some love, go find out more about her work. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Leanne. It was so good to see you.